I don't know. There we go. I can tell I have audio. I don't know why I didn't notice before. Thank you to my viewer who clued me in that I was ranting amazingly. And it was on a really good rant, too, about income inequality. Um, Fuck the graphics. I'm not even going to do the graphics on the screen. I'm over it. I'm so pissed that the past half hour went up in smoke, essentially. cBas After Dark. This is Nerd News Monday. Let's just continue on with it. I was doing the story. I will do this story again. It's worth it. Oops. Present to anyone. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to share this screen. Oh, let's see. This one. Tech bus drivers forced to live in their cars to make ends meet. Basically talking about income inequality, right? And this is a good article from the San Francisco Chronicle talking about a 53-year-old guy who drives the rich-ass Apple employees to work, the wealthiest tech company in the world, yet he cannot afford a place to live. He sleeps in an air mattress in the back of his 1997 green Dodge Caravan. Cannot afford rent in an... And as I was saying before, essentially, I don't understand how anybody who is poor and a redneck, essentially, one of the poor folks, I don't understand how anybody who's middle class or poor is a Republican at all, because that's the party of the, the rich. This is the party of the people who, if you work hard enough someday, maybe you can be one of us too. Yes. That's such a carrot and stick bullshit thing. And I mean, I would love to live in the theoretical world on where it's true that you could, if you the poor people really are lazy and uneducated and are undeserving, but that's not the real world we live in. The people who are poor and are deserving, they are the hardest workers. These are the people who truly do deserve an opportunity for the American dream, and all these, stupid, just, what am I trying to say? Like, all of these, oh great, now there's two of me here on this call. How are there two of me? Now is there like an echo? I feel like there may be an echo here. Let me just try and mute one of me here. Hello. Okay, that one is me. This one, I cannot control. Okay, fine. I don't know, man. I was just saying at the beginning of the show, I'm so over this fucking show tonight. Anyway, I truly feel like anybody who's poor should not be Republican, because the income inequality thing truly has made it impossible for people below a certain line to achieve that critical mass. Even if you have bad credit and you're rich, you can sort of get around it because you have that critical mass. You have enough money to pay for anything, anytime, anywhere, and it doesn't matter. I really was thinking, I hope for the day, I hope I see in my lifetime the day when all of the rich, only rich people living in Cisco and just a horde of poor people come up that peninsula and just burn them to the fucking ground. Many of them dying. I'm okay with many of those, rich fuckers getting killed in this massive, onslaught against, income inequality. I'm okay with that. Because the rich people I got mine, tough shit for you, I would love to be a tech bro, a neo-libertarian tech bro who says, earned what I have, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's not just about that. It is not just about, you had more opportunity than the black woman who had, yes, she has 3 kids. Okay, fine. It doesn't mean she deserves to live, 4 hours away in a shitty apartment in a shitty place. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I am not into this neo-libertarian thing. I wish I was rich enough to be like, tough shit for you. You didn't study hard enough. You didn't pick the right major in college. You didn't come from the right family. I think all of that is really scary. But I do think that because of the, it's this whole Occupy movement thing, which I felt like, the Occupy movement really, and this is not going to be political, this is supposed to be nerd news. I feel like the one thing the Occupy people did wrong is that they didn't have a clear, concise message. Interview those Occupy people. I was a journalist back then in the middle of the Occupy Oakland general strike in the San Francisco Bay Area. Like, I was there talking to people on the ground. What do you want to happen? And put the microphone in their face. I'm like, well, we don't want to answer that right now. We want all of the jails to be emptied. We want, it's like, if only they had stuck to fucking income inequality. There needs to be a change. There needs to be way higher wages for these way poor people. There needs to be many, many changes. Obscene CEO income. All I can say is I cannot wait for the day, and I will be there clapping with popcorn when the hordes of poor people are in there burning the rich San Francisco motherfuckers out of their home and just killing them in a grand slaughter of rich people. I'm going to be there applauding, even if I'm rich, because I'm not going to live there. I'm rich. I'm going to do my best to make sure that I'm helping people. And I'm going to make sure I'm a huge cheerleader for the poor people who are demanding not even equality, not even equal pay on this, because that's not ever going to happen, but just an equal opportunity, because there is not equal opportunity in this country. And I feel like the illusion of it is what has so many poor rednecks voting Republican. Conservative, liberal is bad, Obama, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? The conservative thing is why you're still poor in a very real way. It is why you can't, even if you're one of the hardest workers in the world, you don't have a shot because you don't have the right education. You didn't come from the right family. You didn't go to the right school. There's a lot out there when it comes to these sort of things. And I can't wait for the rich people to be just murdered, burned alive in their beds. This got way angrier than I meant for it to, but I guess the reason is my frustration with having the first 25 minutes be completely silent. I'm there getting it said, and no one's hearing a fucking word. Fuck it. Let's do another science story, or a nerd news story. Come on. My mouse is sticking here. On top of everything else. Hey, speaking of rich douchebags, a pharmaceutical CEO wants to be a rapper. He just jacked up the price on a 62-year-old drug by more than $700 per pill. And now he's given Eminem quotes. This is the douchebag in question. Martin I don't even know how to fucking say this name. Shkreli? Hedge fund manager turned pharmaceutical CEO. Talk about being a douchebag. He's in hot water after he's not in any hot water. Not in any meaningful hot water, is he? What does that even mean? People are furious. So what? What does he give a shit for? He doesn't care. This drug treats toxoplasmosis, a disease caused by a parasite that can be deadly, especially with those with compromised immune system. $13.50 a pill. Now it's $7.50 a pill, according to the New York Times. Hillary Clinton says it's outrageous. Unfortunately, she's also one of the rich people who doesn't care about poor people. Again, when I talk about these political things, this is not Democrat versus Republican here. It is really not, because the rich Democrats are really on the same side as the rich Republicans. I feel like only somebody like, the socialist, Bernie Sanders. Oh, he's a fucking socialist. Well, I'm not going to, yeah, guess what? So was Ronald Reagan by that same standard. So, fuck these people who talk about Bernie Sanders being socialist, therefore don't elect him. Daraprim has been around more than 60 years, but now they need to add a profit. It costs very little. He bought the pill. They didn't even own it. They bought the pill. Other companies were giving it away almost. It's still underpriced relative to his peers, even at $7.50 a tablet. It costs very little to make it, but he says there's other costs, such as distribution, which have increased. That is such fucking transparent bullshit. In the meantime, if someone can't afford it, they'll give it away totally for free. I think that's bullshit too. I don't think they will. I think that's a lie. I will believe it when I see it. He used the company to pay off claims of investors from his hedge fund. Interesting. So there are people accusing him of being fired for stock irregularities from his previous job. And, whatever. Anyway, back to the thing about it. Now he wishes he was a rapper, right? And he's quoting Eminem, for Christ's sake. It seems like the media immediately points a finger at me, so I point one back at him, but not the index or pinky. So he's, flipping off the media. All right. I mean, he's just such a shitbag. I donated a total of $5 million. He did not. He's so full of shit. And even if he did, the tax breaks that he gets, paying his, he gets, oh yeah, I'm not the one to fuck with, Wu-Tang Clan. All right. I wish some pharma CEO would try and Meek Mill with me. I would drake them so fast. This guy is one of those, white guys trying to be a rapper. Not like Eminem, which is a white guy who is a rapper and a successful good one, actually. Diverting for 1 second about Eminem. And I feel like it's almost racist of me, unfortunately. But my excuse for this almost being racist is that I did not know Eminem was white. It sounds impossible, I know. But like 15 years ago when I first learned about Eminem, I heard it and I was like, wow, these lyrics actually appeal to me. The wordplay and the rhythm are very, very well done, and they appeal to me in a way that all other hip-hop rap appeal to me. And then I found out he was white. So in my own defense, I did not know he was white, but he is the only rapper at all that appeals to me in any way. Where I can see the rhythm scheme is correct. And true to itself, right? If there's a rhythm, they don't try to stick a word with too many syllables in there to make a rhyme. Like, all of that is bad rhyming, bad rapping, bad sort of wordplay. And Eminem's the only one who ever did it in a way that appealed to me. I don't know how else to say it. But anyway, he's spending a lot of time focusing on rare infections, apparently, if you believe his Twitter feed. Hiking up the price of those drugs to people who cannot afford it, claiming he'll give it away, and yet he was bitching about people who were selling it for $13.50 a pill because they were just giving it away. Which is it, fucker? Like, I mean, this guy's such a douchebag, and I want to like him. Like, I want it to be cool that he's got this rap fetish, He's going to make scientists rich who develop new treatments. He's going to give scientists a royalty or payment based on how much of the drug is sold. So yeah, I mean, I really don't believe, I used to say anyway, that I do not believe that the medical industry, not the pharmaceutical industry, that's separate, right? But I truly don't believe that doctors are profiteering gluttons trying to, get rich off of sick people. But stuff like this, scientists developing treatments and getting royalties for how many people take the pill, that is kind of very clearly crossing that do no harm line. Turning it into a profit center. Well, what if the person doesn't need the drug? Okay, now we're officially in profiteering glutton territory, right? Because I'm a doctor, right? I wear a white lab coat and I'm a doctor and I have an education and you should listen to me and you came to me for my advice. I think you need this diazepam pill. $750 a pop. No, you need it or else you'll die. Your child needs it or else he'll die. Meanwhile, I'm getting a kickback from a drug company for prescribing a pill. I used to try to tell myself. In fact, I used to really get on other people for claiming that was what was going on. And the more I read this, I mean, yes, the more it sickens me, but I'm starting to have trouble with my own wish, this wasn't true, because it sounds like it's becoming more and more true. And it sounds like douchebags like Martin Shkreli of Turing we pay scientists 1% to 2% royalties. If you make $1 billion drug, you deserve $10 million to $20 million a year for 10 years. Most CEOs are too jealous to let that happen. I'm not even going to dignify his tweets with a reply. Let's just move on. The olfactory code from the National Science. How does smell work? Well, there's a $15 million grant from the NSF, the National Science Foundation, trying to figure out the mystery of olfaction. National Science Foundation has awarded more than $15 million for 3 projects to research this. These awards support 17 researchers who combine innovative ideas from multiple disciplines. This I really like. And I mean, here's the thing. 15 million for like a few years. It's not 15 million a year, is it? No. It's not even 15 million a project. This is for 3 projects. You look at that Martin Shkreli, you know, he makes an obscene amount of money. And by the way, yes, the golden parachute thing. I hate to keep coming back to this. I'm beating a dead horse and I'm sorry. But that's just so wrong. Even if you fuck up, even if you quit or get fired, you still get a big, huge chunk of money on your way out. Like that is so insanely, obscenely wrong. I describe it like I just, the only thing I can feel like I can say is I can't wait for those fuckers to be burned alive in their rich houses in a rich area like San Francisco. When the hordes of poor people who cannot feed their families because they work for these companies who make this much money. I don't know. I'm so over it. I'm so pissed off that the show started the way it did. I will read this to you. The cloaking technology story. This is from the Army Times. Emick says he and his colleagues have demonstrated a major breakthrough in the quest for invisibility. UC San Diego, Boubacar Kante and his colleagues tested the first effective dielectric metasurface cloak. Super thin, non-metal material that manipulates EM waves, including visible light. This is essentially a cloaking device. Electromagnetic waves and how they come off an object are crucial to the ability to detect it. Radar can't detect a plane without radio wave from a receiver. Seeing requires light bouncing off an object and passing it into your eyeball, but manipulating those waves could, in theory, prevent detection. I'm sure we won't have too much detail, but what makes this unique? Back in 2006, scientists demonstrated it was possible to absorb or direct EM waves through an object, around an object, through a coating and make it quote-unquote invisible. It only worked on microwaves, and it only worked in 2 dimensions. Advances since then have developed this, have helped the scientific team develop this new material consisting of a layer of Teflon substrate with tiny ceramic cylinders embedded into it. The difference here, the 2 main breakthroughs are the ultra-thin material and the use of the ceramics rather than metallic particles. Previous cloaking efforts required materials as much as 10 times thicker than the wavelength being dodged. Missile guidance and marine radar wavelengths measure roughly 3 centimeters, and that would require about a foot of coating. So can you imagine a coating that is a foot thick, 12 inches thick, to make something invisible? Well, this will work at about 1/10 of the wavelength. So hiding from that same 3 centimeter wavelength would only require about a 3 millimeter thick coat. That's much more like reality, isn't it? Different thicknesses could be used for EM waves as small as those visible light, 400 to 700 nanometers. What are the military benefits? In case it's not obvious, to hide. I like how this is written. Unmanned aerial vehicles. I think they misspelled aerial there. There is a word spelled this way. It means like a weather warning that is an aerial warning. It means of an area, right? The warning for an area or of an area is an aerial warning. But this is aerial, as in aerospace, you know, like airplane. I believe they used the wrong aerial there. High-end camouflage for any background colors, something invisible or even semi-invisible. You know how in Star Trek, what is it? In Star Trek, who they have like the Jem'Hadar in the Deep Space Nine series, right? And the funny thing is, kind of when they're cloaking or decloaking, you can kind of see a little outline of them, like it's a distortion. You can't see them, but you can kind of see there's like, you know, if you see a flat surface like this, my phone, right? There would be a jump in the apparent location of it partway through. I don't know. I think real cloaking technology is a very cool scientific thing. The technology does not allow for a cloak that can hide an object from both visual and radar detection. Each given cloak will only work for a narrow range of wavelengths. You can either be invisible to visible light, or you can be invisible to radar, but not both. Interesting. And works effectively only within a 6-degree range of angles. So the angle limitations are a problem. They're working on ways of expanding that. So like my hoverboard, this is super expensive and a long ways out. Actually, they're saying no. Basically, we are ready to make them right now. Ceramics are cheap and abundant. While no companies possess the capabilities to produce vast quantities of this cloaking material now, scaling up would not be difficult, easy to manufacture. They did not originally set out to help generals hide spying and killing machines. While interested in metamaterials that can control waves as this technology, the primary goal was using the materials for cavities to trap light and store information for a long period of time. That's weird. Using similar concepts as fiber optics, which use light to transfer information rather than electricity, the simplified idea was to cut slower electricity out of computers and processors altogether. Wow. Man, he's also received interest from an interior design company. What does that mean? Like invisible? Yeah, great. The last thing we need. I mean, I still stub my toe on the visible coffee table in the middle of the night. I have no hope if my coffee table is made of invisible nano ceramic material. All right, whatever. Let's go to the next story here. Crime-solving bacteria and body odor. What does it mean? Or rather, what does your pubic bacteria say about you? I believe was the headline. I was going to save this for the end of the show, and we're just about there. Let's see here. What is this? Is this like a bloody crime scene? What is this? Here we go. Puzzled by pubic hair was forensic biologist Silvana Tridico. Pubic hair samples donated by 2 volunteers. She had just finished analyzing the bacteria stuck to the hair of 7 people. If each hair sample carried unique mixes of bacteria, investigators might have a new tool to identify crime suspects. Hair bacteria, like fingerprints, could offer a forensic link. Interesting, okay. But 2 of the hair samples held nearly identical microbe populations. I thought I'd made a mistake. She repeated the analysis, and still the hair's bacteria matched. I think they had sex. So if your bacteria matches the bacteria on the pubic hair of someone else, wow. That's a forensic clue that you have had sex. This article is behind a firewall or a payment wall. Let's see here. Let's go to news.google.com and see if I can't come up with it. Pubic. Come on now. God damn it. Fuck my life with this computer tonight. Bacteria, not pubic lice, thank you. Pubic bacteria science. Let's just do that. Okay, there's the article from Science News. Here's the AAAS, what is it? The Academy for the Advancement, what is it? Come on! I'm so over this fucking show tonight. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm in a really shitty mood because of how badly I got off to a start. But let's do this. When it comes to identifying a rapist, one of the main pieces are pubic hairs. They're looking for DNA. Many of those hairs are missing their roots and don't have enough DNA, but the bacteria left behind is, as we learned earlier, what we were talking about. Criminals have gotten wise to genetic testing and are increasingly wearing condoms, which they take with them after rapes. Comparing bacteria, victim, and suspects, and then creating a microbial fingerprint. 7 individuals, 2 of whom were living together, to collect their scalp and pubic hair for 5 months. Good Lord. The researchers then analyzed these samples in the lab, looking for bacterial populations present after 5 months and after 2 months. The scalp hair showed 50 different varieties of microbes in males, 55 in females found in this part of the body. But many of the microbes that were found were not specific to the individual. The pubic hair bacteria, however, turned out to be more distinct. Each individual's personal pubic bacteria stayed roughly the same during the 5 months. More kinds of bacteria live in these hairs, approximately 73 in males, 76 in females. So yeah, let's just be clear. Who's cleaner? At least when it comes to types of bacteria living on your hair. In your scalp, 50 for males, 55 for females. In your pubes, 73 types of bacteria for males, 70 more types of bacteria in females. You're cleaner, obviously, but I just like that sort of association. A larger combination of different bacteria means it's more likely for people to carry a unique microbial signature on them. Although each person's pubic hair bacteria were distinct, the couple who were living together had greater similarity at 5 months than detected at 2 months. The couple later revealed they'd had sexual intercourse 18 hours before the collection of their hairs. Because the study included only one couple living together and only 7 participants in total, the results are not conclusive, but encouraging. It might be difficult to use this method if there's been previous sexual contact. And, this happens in rape cases where sometimes people who've had sex are suddenly involved in a rape situation. And that could be, a problem, I guess. But I love it. It's not just about DNA anymore. It's about the bacteria on your pubes. Oh, shit. All right. I'm exhausted both from my political ranting. I still say the rich people need to be burned alive in their rich homes. Not any one rich person, right? It only works in my scenario if it's a whole bunch of rich people living in a very clustered area like San Francisco, burned alive by a large horde of, poor people who cannot feed their family. And then I'm also exhausted from the fact that the first 25 minutes had silence on it. So this is going to be one hell of a video podcast for people to watch. I have 6 minutes left. You want to do a video or something? Some kind of interesting Bell Labs video. I really like watching those. So here, let's switch back over to the screen and just see what kind of Bell Labs video I can pull up spontaneously. By the way, feel free to share your feedback on my burning rich people alive information theory. The text is 310776 Kunz, as I know some of you know how to do. Thank you very much again for my viewer who clued me in that my stupid fucking show was not fucking having any audio. Bell Labs. Similarities of wave behavior. That's 28 minutes long. The story of light. This is 8 minutes. Maybe we'll just do this.
So just imagine you want to send a text message
from, say, here to somebody in China.
You just send and off it goes.
That's simply not true.
First, you punch it into your smartphone, and off it goes to
the nearest cell phone tower, which receives the signal.
Your electromagnetic wave is
converted to light and goes to the nearest central office, where it's multiplexed and combined with
hundreds and thousands and millions of text messages.
A lot of those signals will terminate in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Chicago, Denver. Yours needs to go
into a fiber that goes across the Pacific. Then the signal reaches
China. Your text message is identified,
experiences the reverse
process to what happened here in the United States
until it reaches your friend in China.
And the trip takes 1/20th of a second. That's the time it takes light to traverse 10,000 kilometers.
That was just the
story. All right, this is cute as hell. I'm sorry, hold on. This is cute as hell. The way, the gong when we talk about China, feed Billy the fish. This is cute.
This is happening millions and millions of times every hour across the globe. And all of that is carried by the fiber optic network that none of us can see, but all of us will use.
The story of light. Oh, I love it. 55 years earlier.
In 1960, when I was at Oxford, there was a visitor from Bell Labs. His name was Rudy Kompfner. He said 3 magic words that basically changed my life. Imagine the bandwidth. I knew there was a potential, but I didn't really think it would develop that fast. I've heard articulate speech produced by sunlight. I've heard a ray of the sun laugh and cough and sing. These were the words of Alexander Graham Bell.
Dr. Bell insists that what the telephone accomplishes with the aid of a wire, his photophone accomplishes with the aid of a sunbeam.
This was the birth of the idea of using light for communications.
Wow.
But it would take over 100 years to make his dream a reality.
Like, do you guys ever... Okay, shifting down way far from the sort of mentality and attitude of the earlier part of the show. Like, talk about, I mean, not having a good idea or leaving the good ideas to other people, as they said in an episode of Sports Night, 1998. Like, you know, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Alexander fucking Graham Bell had the idea for light, using light for audio communication or some kind of communication 100 years ago. Now, it took 100 years, as they said, to make it reality, but goddamn, even having that idea, even having that concept, does it make anyone else feel inadequate too? Like, am I the only one? Like, I mean, you know, these scientists working on cloaking technology, the scientists you couldn't hear me talking about at the beginning of the show, analyzing context for kids learning English, you know, the concepts, just to be able to think of something like that and have it become true ever. I mean, it blows my mind in a way I cannot even describe. I'm sorry for interrupting. Back to the movie here. I want to finish this too, but holy fucking shit, man!
Man has created a new light. With it, we can simulate the energy of the star.
Alexander Graham Bell was obviously fascinated by light. So am I.
Perfect Kogelink, the DFB laser inventor.
This is
Wow.
coherent light. I use it to chase away the deer sometimes.
I use it to chase away the
The
deer.
invention of the laser was huge.
Peter Vinzer.
Is like going from white noise to the beautiful and differentiated sounds of a violin. We all of a sudden had a spectrally pure source. What fiber optics really enabled is limitless capacity. Capacity that's there in abundance and that's there for people to use.
I'm one of the few people left around here that came here when fiber optics was just starting.
He pioneered the intercontinental terrestrial fiber for optical networks. Wow, okay.
In 1977, the first optical fiber communication systems carried 45 million bits per second. At that time, an astronomical amount of information. And it turned out that that wasn't enough.
So we exploited time. We switched the laser off and on at very fast rate.
In 1983, fibers transmitted 90 million bits per second. Technology just kept getting better and better and better. 1985 to 155 million bits per second. A remarkable thing happened. Data started being transmitted over optical fibers. In the early 1990s, 2.5 billion bits per second.
But that's where we hit engineering limits. We exploited different properties of light with wavelength division multiplexing. You can place different colors of light onto a common channel. First 2, then 4, then 8.
So yeah, each of these colors can have its own sort of content, right? Like the green laser being flipped on and off at a certain angle, at a certain wavelength, at a certain time, and it can be done at the same time as the red one and the blue one and the yellow one. I'm fucking so blown away.
Now up to 100 different wavelengths.
By 1995, each color signaled at 10 billion bits per second.
By 1995, 10 billion? That's 10 billion, yeah. 10 billion bits per second for each color, right?
But then we hit limits again.
And we hit the limit.
So what did we do?
Light pioneer.
Career coherent technology with a completely different way of utilizing the properties of light. In the past, we only had one dimension, we could switch light on and off. With coherent, we suddenly had two more dimensions to use.
So we constructed signaling formats that used the notion of phase but also of amplitude. Then we were using the polarization of the optical signal.
Now with the coherent, suddenly we could do 10 times more capacity. So we came out with the first 100G in 2010. Then we quickly followed up with 400G first field trials actually in 2012.
Now, a single fiber can carry up to 10 terabits of information per second. And yet, we've gotten to the point where that's not going to be enough.
The challenge to further increase capacity is more difficult than it has ever been.
Sebastian Bigot.
We are running out of options.
We are now at the fundamental limit where we cannot go further because of laws of physics. So what we're trying to do now is exploiting space as the final frontier.
Oh
The
my
vision
God.
of the future is the concept of spatial multiplexing. So one strand of glass, the width of a human hair, could have 10 or 20 or 40 cores in it.
With spatial multiplexing, we could break the petabit per second barrier, which is 10 times more than what we had before.
So at the same time, we need to work on something else, but radically different.
In the past, we often used optics only as a big dump pipe to pump through capacity.
The capacity growth is not sustainable anymore. We need to change the game. Say that we have hundreds of thousands of people in the same place. We want the network to deliver capacity where it is needed and when it is needed.
So we know that optics has to become more flexible, more intelligent.
That is the vision of the future, and that is where the great technical challenges lie.
You always have to be ahead of the crowd, and that's always a challenge.
You think they can do it?
Excuse me?
Do you think they can do it?
Oh, sure. They're very clever people here. There's always something new to be done, and they've done it.
All right, I am practically in tears here. I don't even know what to say. Like, because I'm struggling. I'm purposely not turning the camera on right now because I don't need people to see me cry. But like, you know, I felt inadequate a long time. I have 2 small university degrees. One of them is in psychology, the other's in philosophy. I have people in my life who think, oh my God, that is so impressive. That's nothing. You know? I mean, from one side, it's nothing because, you know, they're way smarter people than me. They're way more accomplished academics than me, you know. But just in a conceptual way, what they're talking about is almost, I mean, it's just barely comprehensible to me. I look at them talking and I'm like, I mean, to say I'm floored, to say I'm in awe is, you know, very much short of the real truth. Like, you know, and I know I was going on about Alexander Graham Bell a few minutes ago about the, you know, what he was envisioning, but what these people are envisioning today, you know, yeah, they're standing on the shoulders of Alexander Graham Bell, but they're in their own way pioneers and visionaries, and like it may take another 100 years to become possible what they're dreaming of. And these kind of older guys who are, you know, that old guy at the end, excuse me, do you think they can do it? Oh yeah, they're very creative people here. Like, I mean, part of me is like inspired beyond inspired to watch shit like that. And then part of me thinks, God, I can't even get a job as a journalist. You know, I did a radio journalism career for 20 years. And I've spent so long trying to get someone to hire me just to be a producer, you know, something small. I've gone to the forward-thinking places, Google News and Apple. I've gone to all the traditional places, fucking television stations, shitty ass Fox News. And none of the cool places to work, none of the shitty places to work, not one would hire me, would even consider me, much less, interview me, much less hire me. And on another level, I look at the creator of that video, right? You have to be able to understand what they're doing and do a certain amount of animation to even create a video about like that. Not even being the pioneer or the visionary yourself, but being the person who makes that video. I'm feeling very inadequate tonight, and it's very emotional for me because I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling with not having anything to live for. I'm not suicidal. I'm not going to kill myself. I'll be here tomorrow night doing Media Watch Wednesday and talking about the new TV season, but like, am I everything I could be? No. I mean, even my potential, even my maximum potential, like, I don't think I'm going to get to someday. And I wonder, what do I have to do? Who do I have to talk to? Who do I have to reach out to? It's a very tough time. And I feel like the country's not going in the right direction. The world is not going in the right direction. And I somehow don't understand even what I'm going to be doing in another year. I'm an English teacher for people who can't speak English, and my students are very appreciative. And in fact, they treat me as though I am better than any of the other students in the school. Teachers in the school. Like, they tell me in very clear ways, I do this teaching thing in a way better than the other teachers do it. I still get paid the same. I still have no real upward mobility. I have really nothing to live for. And that's a hard, scary place to be. Well, I'm trying to make up for having that first 25 minutes be silent. I'm just going to stop it here. We'll see you tomorrow night, 10 o'clock p.m. West Coast time, 0500 GMT. Media Watch Wednesday on cBas After Dark. Have a good Wednesday, everyone.